right, Rhino. It's ready for the cake, brother.
Thank you.
Very well. Discipline is everything. Ryan's super disciplined. One day he says, hey, you gotta cut down on this, cut down on that. It goes down to him and how he's gonna cut his weight and how he's feeling.
Food is damn good. Carlos makes some good food. Weight's coming off, my body's performing well, and we're all doing a great job collaborating together to get the best result possible.
For dinner tonight, we got some real nice beef tenderloin, AKA fillets. That's right, got a little mashed potatoes. We got our mushroom mix right here. We're gonna saute them with a little butter. We got our broccoli all blanched off. We're ready to fry everything. You have all the elements that he needs to be a top athlete.
I just monitor my eating, keep assessing myself every time I take a bite, see if it worked, if it was enough, if it wasn't enough, and then make adjustments.
You gotta evaluate yourself and master yourself, because nobody's gonna know your body better than you.
Inside Ryan Garcia's camp, the noise disappears and the routine takes over.
What if the biggest story surrounding Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn was never the fight itself, but everything happening behind the scenes before the first bell even rings? Because while fans are busy arguing over who has the faster hands, who hits harder, and who survives the pressure, something much more interesting has been unfolding inside Garcia's training camp. And
I opened up as the underdog, and it just felt like they just don't see my skills, and it's been that way for a long time since coming up. You know, they see the knockout, to see what I do, but they don't know how I'm doing it, so they never really rate me too well, you know, and that's fine. I have my style, and I'm confident against anybody, and just gonna keep on shocking people.
I'm a brave soul. I'm a brave soul, and I'm somebody that you could trust to always speak up with injustices and try to be the best leader I could possibly be, admit my wrongs, but also, you know, fight for what I believe in.
I see perfection, and I'm telling you, it's dangerous for the other guy because I see that he's a complete boxer. I told you yesterday that he was talking about his body structure, you know, what it means to him, and now he knows that this is the way he has to be going into the ring.
once you connect the details, the entire matchup starts looking different. And before you say it's just another training camp, wait, because this is where the story gets weird. Ryan Garcia isn't simply training. He's obsessing over details, from what lands on his dinner plate to how much water he drinks, how his body responds, and how every drill prepares him for one specific problem. Conor Benn, getting close enough to turn speed into pressure. Reports and footage from the camp suggest discipline has become the theme.
Ryan moves through conditioning drills, explosive pad work, technical combinations, and footwork exercises, designed to keep him dangerous without allowing Benn to trap him against the ropes.
For Ryan, the truth is it doesn't matter because he's too disciplined to let the weight or the next day weigh-in be a problem for him.
You think it's just a working out thing, but it's more of a mental battle. And Ryan's so accustomed to it at this point that I truly don't believe it's going to affect him in any way. He just has a mission and he knows what he needs to accomplish.
It's pretty much the same process, getting down to 140 and then understanding when you got to make that final cut. You don't want to do it too early because it's tough living in dehydration. That's why you have to pay attention to every moment, how much water intake, just so you can balance and make things a little bit more easier for yourself.
And Ryan himself talks about constantly evaluating his body, adjusting his food, and figuring out what works with almost ridiculous precision. Beef tenderloin, mashed potatoes, mushrooms, broccoli. This sounds less like a celebrity meal and more like a laboratory where the main experiment is Ryan Garcia. But then comes the first twist. The food isn't really the story. The weight is. And this is where everything gets spicy. The matchup has been surrounded by discussion about 147 pounds.
Every combination has a purpose. Every movement is repeated until it becomes instinct, and every round is treated like another piece of the puzzle for September 12th. The left hook remains one of Ryan's biggest weapons, but the training is clearly about building a complete fighter around it, sharpening his right hand, improving his body work, and making sure his reactions stay lightning fast when Ben comes forward.
You know, my dad in life that I've said to myself, you better push it. You better win. Like my mom and dad, they gave their whole salary to this one tournament. We drove all the way over there. It was cross country. And I said to myself, if I lose in this tournament and I got to do this long ride back home, it's just going to be torture. And came back with the national title. So that was good.
Then there's the part fans rarely see. What happens between the workouts? Ryan's food has to match.
With analysts questioning whether Ben can make the weight while keeping the same physical presence and explosiveness. Online speculation immediately turned that into a giant debate. Is the weight merely a number, or could it become the invisible third fighter in the ring? Talksport analysts have raised concerns about how the cut could affect Ben, while others have pointed out that Ryan is not exactly a small fighter himself. And suddenly a fight that looked like speed versus pressure becomes something else entirely.
Going to be physically strong enough, because I think it'd be weight drained. I'm not making excuses for him, you understand, but I think it'd be weight drained before the fight, because I think they don't have a weight stipulation where they can put on as much as they want after the weigh-in. Even if you're eating all night long. Yeah, even if you're eating all night long, you still only so much weight you can put on. Let's just say he puts on a stone overnight and he goes into the fight at 154. Still ain't going to be strong enough because Garcia ain't a small guy.
161, yeah.
Sorry, Garcia's not a small guy.
Speed versus pressure versus the scale. Fake breaking news. The scale has entered the chat, and you won't believe how quickly the conversation changed, because now every pound matters, every training session matters, every meal matters, and every decision inside camp suddenly looks like part of a much bigger strategy. But just when you think you figured out Ryan's plan, he drops another clue.
Level is not power at weight level.
Absolutely.
The power at weight level is totally different. You can get fighters who are not really the biggest of punchers at weight level, but they're at world title level, the world champions, and they can crack, and they're not known as big punchers, but you feel that power. They can punch. There's a difference in the power, isn't there?
If Conor would have beaten Jack Catchall, as an example, or other top line fighters at that weight, 4, 5, 6 guys maybe, you're 3, 4 guys at that weight, in the run-up to this fight.
He says he's used to being underestimated. That statement sounds simple until you remember the larger narrative around him. Fans have seen the knockouts, the speed, the flashy combinations, but Ryan claims people often see the result without understanding how he creates it, and that might be the real psychological battle here. Ben isn't just trying to beat Ryan Garcia, according to the camp narrative.
But what he's fighting now is a young, much improved Ryan Garcia, who's world champion.
But notwithstanding all of that, whatever we do or don't think about the matchmaking that's enabled Conor to do so well, he's an exciting fighter, and it will be an exciting fight with Garcia because he brings his own brand of excitement and.
He's trying to solve a fighter who believes people still don't fully understand him, and that is dangerous. Not because Ryan is some unstoppable machine, but because confidence can completely change the way a fighter approaches a high-profile matchup. Then comes another twist. Ryan starts talking about perfection. Not I want to win. Not I want to look good. Perfection.
Can I just push on Garcia, Ben? I mean, a lot of people saying that Garcia is too skilled.
Ryan knocks him out. The fight doesn't go 6 rounds, in my opinion. Ryan knocks him out.
Why is that? Is that the disparity in skill? Or?
Yeah, I mean, disparity in skill, disparity in power. I don't think Conor Benn's that good, bro. I think it's obvious he's not that good, but, Ryan Garcia is a very good fighter.
His trainer describes the idea of understanding his own body structure as a breakthrough, almost like Ryan suddenly unlocked another level of his preparation, and suddenly the training footage looks different. The pads aren't just pads anymore. The footwork isn't just movement. The combinations aren't random. Everything has a purpose.
Understand the responsibility on his shoulders as well to elevate his game. He's already at a very good level. He's already a very good fighter. But this fight is an opportunity for him to make a statement because he's fighting a guy who's got a big name, but also a guy who probably doesn't belong in the ring with him. And so I think he's got a chance to do something of a statement in this fight by getting, a massive, destructive type of victory. And I think that
Conditioning drills, explosive pad work, reaction exercises, technical combinations, body shots, right-hand work. The famous left hook remains a major weapon, but the camp appears focused on making Ryan less predictable around it. And this is where the story takes another sharp turn. Because if Ryan only wanted to rely on speed and the left hook, why spend so much time developing everything else? Exactly. Maybe the goal isn't simply to hit Ben harder. Maybe right hand, body shot, pressure, pivot, close distance, counter, and suddenly Conor Benn's biggest strength, pressure, could become the exact thing Ryan wants to exploit. But wait, because there's another side to this. Ryan Garcia has had performances where fans and analysts question.
Listen, at the peak of his powers, if he can deliver that sort of performance, then of course he's got a shot, because we've seen Ryan Garcia, against Mario Barrios, he didn't look particularly good. He looked very flat in that fight. So we've seen him when he's not looked particularly good. So of course he has an opportunity, but can he carry that power at 147? Is he that?
Did he quit?
Do you think he's a quitter? I guess.
Did he quit? As a fighter, I can say he did.
Yeah.
With Rolly, did he go in his shell once he got clipped? So he did. And that's our DNA is just different. Our makeup's completely different. I'm a guy swinging, and I'm a guy on my shield always.
Whether he was operating at his highest level, and that detail has not disappeared from the conversation. TalkSport's panel brought up his flat performance against Mario Barrios as evidence that the perfect Ryan Garcia is not guaranteed to show up every night. And that changes everything, because now Ben doesn't need Ryan to be bad. He may simply need Ryan to be less than perfect. One slow reaction, one mistimed exchange. One moment where Ryan gets uncomfortable under pressure and suddenly the entire prediction changes. Fake breaking news, the favorite may have a problem. Except, maybe not. Because then Paulie Malignaggi enters the conversation and basically throws a bucket of cold water over the entire idea of a competitive fight. Paulie's prediction is brutally confident. He doesn't expect the fight to reach 6 rounds, and he believes Ryan's skill level is significantly higher than Ben's. That is not a prediction designed to make everyone comfortable. That is a prediction designed to start arguments in every boxing comment section on the internet. And naturally, fans immediately have questions. Is Paulie seeing something everyone else is missing? Or is this exactly the kind of prediction that becomes famous only if it comes true? Because boxing has a funny way of turning confident predictions into comedy 5 rounds later. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. Paulie isn't simply talking about Ryan's speed. He's talking about the difference in overall ability. And if he's right, Ben's biggest challenge may not be surviving the power. It may be finding Ryan in the first place. Imagine trying to pressure someone who refuses to stand exactly where you expect him to stand. You move forward, he changes angles, you throw, he slips, you reset, he touches you with something quick. You chase again and suddenly you're doing cardio while Ryan is doing geometry. That could be the entire fight in one sentence. But then comes the counter argument. And this is where Ben's supporters have something important to say. What happens if Ben gets inside early? What happens if he attacks the body? What happens if he makes Ryan work every second? Because speed looks beautiful when you have space. Take that space away and suddenly the conversation becomes much more complicated. Ben doesn't need to win a track meet. He needs to make Ryan uncomfortable. And if he can turn the fight into a physical contest, the predictions suddenly become much less certain. This is the chessboard nobody is talking about enough. Ryan wants distance. Ben wants access. Ryan wants timing. Ben wants disruption. Ryan wants clean exchanges. Ben wants chaos. And now you understand why this matchup has so much intrigue. But there's one more piece of the puzzle that changes the emotional side of the story. Ryan talks about his childhood, his father creating a small training space, his family making sacrifices, and a young version of himself deciding that losing simply wasn't acceptable in certain moments. He remembers traveling across the country for a tournament and knowing exactly what his parents had put into that opportunity. That story matters because suddenly the polished superstar image disappears. You're looking at the kid underneath it. The kid who remembers the pressure. The kid who remembers the long drive home. The kid who decided he wasn't going to make that journey carrying regret. And now, fast forward to today, and that same mentality is being placed under an enormous spotlight. But here comes the final twist. Perhaps the biggest battle isn't Ryan Garcia versus Conor Benn at all. Perhaps it's Ryan Garcia versus the version of Ryan Garcia everyone expects to see. Because if he wins, people will say he was supposed to win. If he struggles, the questions begin immediately. If he stops Ben early, critics may say Ben was never good enough. If Ben pushes him late, suddenly everyone will claim they always knew Ryan had weaknesses. There is almost no scenario where the noise disappears. And that may be the real pressure of being the champion. Every punch carries a storyline. Every round creates another headline. Every mistake becomes a debate. Fake breaking news one night, 2 fighters, 1,000 different narratives. And now we reach the prediction everyone has been waiting for. The camp footage suggests Ryan is preparing to be faster, sharper, more complete, and more disciplined than ever. The analysts suggest Ben's weight and ability to maintain physical strength could be major questions. Paulie predicts an early Ryan victory, but Ben still has the one weapon that can make every prediction look ridiculous: pressure. If Ben gets inside early, forces exchanges, attacks the body, and refuses to allow Ryan comfortable space, this could become a completely different fight. But if Ryan controls the distance, reads Ben's entries, and starts landing his signature left hook with precision, the fight could swing dramatically in the other direction. My prediction? Ryan Garcia eventually finds the timing and forces a stoppage somewhere around rounds 5 through 7. But that's exactly why boxing is so addictive. Because the moment you think you know what happens, the sport has a habit of flipping the script. And here's the major twist. Maybe all this talk about Ryan being the favorite is actually creating the perfect environment for Conor Benn. Everyone is talking about Ryan's speed. Everyone is talking about Ryan's power. Everyone is talking about the weight. Everyone is talking about Paulie's prediction. And while everybody argues about the obvious storyline, Ben gets to walk into the ring with one simple objective: make Ryan fight a fight nobody expected. So forget the predictions for 1 second. Forget the rankings. Forget the internet arguments. When that opening bell rings, will Ryan Garcia prove that his new level of discipline has created a completely different fighter? Or will Conor Benn turn all the hype, all the confidence, and all the predictions upside down? Because if Ben forces Ryan into his kind of fight, everything we just discussed could become irrelevant in seconds. And if Ryan gets his timing right, well, Paulie might start looking like a genius. So tell me, does Ryan Garcia stop Conor Benn around rounds 5 to 7? Or does Ben shock everyone and turn the entire prediction upside down?